All right. So tonight we're going to go through something that needs to be completed for the LRP, which is the Leveled Recognition Plan from Hands Up Voices National. And they want you to review the website, and so I kind of came up with a little theme of the Hands Up Voices website roundup, kind of like a Western theme, so that's why you got the look of the slides here going on. And so I came up with 10 questions, and you had all gone through and completed those on your quiz or your form, and now we'll go through and make sure you got the correct answers and clarify anything. But basically the point of this PowerPoint is to make sure that you can see how much is really on the national website. There is quite a bit of information in there. And it gets you a little bit more comfortable with where stuff is on the website. So that is the point of this exercise. So this is the website here, and that's located at handsandvoices.org, and this was the opening page presentation. And so how did you guys go ahead and find your answers? So if, you raise your hand next to your name, you can click the, I don't know if it's the left or right of your mouse, and I'm not sure how it works on a phone, but if you know how to raise your hand next to your name, just show me, did you actually just go through tab by tab and just try to find what you were looking for? If so, raise your hand. All right. And you can lower your hand then. Or how many of you already knew of one of the questions or the resources that were part of the questions and maybe had already utilized it yourself? Raise your hand. All right. So it looks like new to all, or hopefully new to all. And how many of you said, okay, I'm going to make this quick and easy. I see the search bar. I'm going to go ahead and just type in what I'm looking for and search for it. And how many of you did that? Raise your hands. Good. Good. And for the most part, I hope that you found that the search bar was easy to use for you. In the past, I had found it actually to be not on target, but this time when I went looking for things to make sure that they were in the same place as they were before when I've done this, it was much easier and more accurate. So I'm hoping that you had the same situation and ease of finding the items. All right. So, wondering, okay, I totally missed the search bar. When you're looking at the front page, it looks like this, and there's that search by H&B, and right underneath that, it says Google Custom Search. So that search is just the site where we're looking at what we're looking for. Okay? So now you can go back or you'll know where to explain to families to look for things too. All right, so the first question was, what is Lost and Found? And Lost and Found is an informational video that providers can use to show parents who have had a child who did not pass their newborn hearing screening. And several states went in together to produce this. Actually, some of the families in the video are families from Illinois. And the purpose of the video is, to put parents at ease after the child doesn't pass, to kind of give them some information and encouragement to follow up, because that was one thing providers were seeing, that families weren't following up after their child did not pass, because maybe they got some misinformation like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's probably just fluid, some of those things that we've heard over time. And so that was one reason why we put this video together. And parents were the key input on how to say through things in this video and how to get the point across. We do have copies of this video, and they have been disseminated throughout the state. So hopefully providers are using them. We don't know for sure, but it is something that we do have on hand if it was something that you were interested in, or if you thought a provider could utilize it. I can surely get those to you. All right, so this is where it is on the website. So there's a couple of different videos there, but the top one, Lost and Found, is on the video that we were talking about today. All right, so question 2, when and where is next year's Hands and Voice Leadership Conference? The 11th Annual Leadership Conference will be held on September 19th through the 21st of this year in Savannah, Georgia. And if anyone is interested in attending, please, let me know, and we'll see what we can do either to support some of the costs, either from Hands and Voices or Guide by Your Side. But it is a wonderful opportunity. Almost every single Hands and Voices chapter is represented. Of course, there are parent guides there as well.
Put the door back how it was, okay? Good night.
And it really is a learning and networking event, I should say. And this is a picture of the trees in Georgia. I would guess, I haven't been. I think I was in Atlanta once for a conference, but you fly in for the conference, you fly out for the conference, you do so much things. But they have these oak trees in various that are covered by this moss. And I guess that's something that they're known for. All right, question 3, what does OUR stand for? And OUR stands for Observe, Understand, and Response. And that's because our children who maybe are deaf or hard of hearing might be facing abuse and neglect. They certainly are at a higher risk for that because they might not be able to communicate as easily or as well as other children. They don't maybe understand what is happening in conversation or in body language. So they, Hands and Voices has created this program to help families become more aware of the possibility of abuse and neglect in our children. And that was found and looks like this on the page. And I did leave at the top of the slide, I don't know if it kind of blends in, but I did leave the address bar so you could see if you wanted the video or recording of this to refer to, you would know what part of the website it is. We have had a presentation by Harold Johnson before on abuse, and we might be having another one in the future because it has been several years since we had that, and it was very eye-opening and good to know what resources were out there. All right, question 4. Who wrote the eligibility checklist? And that was written by 3 people, Cheryl, Leanne, and Sarah Kennedy. And what does that look like? That looks like this here on the website. And essentially, it plays out, situations that maybe families have, heard that, oh, your child's not eligible because of this, and so forth. So it kind of goes down that road of that line of when is my child eligible and when are they not, and kind of how to work with that. And we do get that question often where we're connected with families and they say, well, they say my child isn't eligible. And so you really need to direct the parents down a road to say, well, let's look at why they feel they're not eligible and what does that even mean. Question 5, where can you find the through K placement checklist? And it is under the Resources tab under Downloadable. And that's what this looks like. And this is a great tool when parents are going to go out and observe a room and they want to get an idea, do I think this is going to work for my child? Is this a good placement? Especially if they're viewing several programs, this would be a great thing to have notes on. And then when they're sitting down to say, okay, what happened at that school again? Was that the classroom of 20 or was that the classroom of 10? How many teachers were in that room? They have something to refer to and not just go relying on memory. Because I don't know about you, but, you know, sometimes it gets a little confusing after you view a couple different things, ask a couple different questions. Sometimes you forget to ask a question in one place, but you ask a question in another. And really, it is a good question. You just forgot. So this tool they can use to kind of stay on point and take notes and use to refer to later. Question 6. List your favorite item from 10 ways to have more fun at your IEP meeting. You would locate it under Topics, under In a Perfect World, within the IEP Survival Kit. And so these things sometimes get a little bit buried. That is a great reason to use that search bar. And I chose to wear costumes. And on the meeting invitation say, festive dress required. Can you imagine showing up to your IEP meeting in a costume? Talk about getting off, I guess, out of the zone and not starting off on a defensive tone and whatnot. I don't know if I'd have the guts to pull that off, but you know what? Each their own, right? This is where it is and what those 10 points look like. You know, and some of them could get a little, you know, set the tone, I guess. Like, for instance, number 9, people could take that the wrong way and be a little offensive. So, you know, it is what it is, but just something to make you giggle, something to make you think about. All right. Question 7. What is number 3 under independence, peer interaction from the self-advocacy inventory checklist? And number 3 is uses communication strategies to interact with peers, such as requesting an interpreter, writing notes, gestures, and so forth. And that looks like this. This is where you find it. So see the one highlighted in orange, that's SAI. That is the document that this is under. And this is the actual form, the SAI. So again, if you're looking at, you know, what can my child do, what maybe should be a goal for my child, this is a great place to start. Sometimes we're always wondering, is my kid on target? They say he's on target. Is he really on target? And really thinking outside of the actual educational piece. Yeah, they can have grades, great grades in all their subjects, but if they're not able to interact with peers or to take account for their actions or for what their needs are, then they do have some areas that are lacking. And so maybe the IEP isn't necessarily all about the educational piece either. All right, question 8. List one item from each of the different accommodation modification topics on the IEP checklist. And so there's quite a few here, so I think the slide is a couple slides actually. So there's amplification options, and one item being the personal FM system. Assistive devices was another topic, and that was to make sure your TV is captioned. The third one, communication accommodations, enhance the speech reading conditions, so making sure that nobody has their hands in front of their face, if it's a gentleman teacher, that their mustache is not hanging over the front lip so that, again, the lips cannot be read, making sure that the teacher or aide or whoever is not chewing gum. Continuing on, the physical environment, do they have flashing fire alarms? Instructional accommodations, use of visual supplements, maybe an overhead, not just solely relying on the voice of the teacher. Chalkboards, maybe charts, vocabulary lists, lecture outlines so they can stay on point and follow the conversation. Curricular modifications, such as pre-tutoring, upcoming vocabulary. evaluation modifications to allow extra time perhaps for tests, and other needs or considerations. Do they need to incorporate deaf and hard of hearing role models? And this was found, again, under the favorite PDF document. I didn't make that one orange, sorry guys. But that is down here at the IEP checklist, right under communication plans. And that's what this looks like. So these bold fonts are the different categories that we went over, and then I just pulled one out of each category. Question 9, what is the pop-up IEP and where is it located on the website? The pop-up IEP is a chart with possible scenarios that might occur or be said during an IEP. When you click on the situation, it will share how you could respond to that, and if there is a law that supports you, it will state which law that is. This is located under the resource section, under topics, and then advocacy. How many of you have utilized or known about the pop-up IEP? Can you show your hand? All right. So we had one. So I'm so glad that we reviewed this because by far this is one of my favorite things here on the site. And if you take a look at it, you'll see, for instance, I chose number 8, the one that's in orange there. I don't have the authority to make that decision. So they say this to you in your IEP, okay? Well, if you click on that, the response that would come up is, the response from you could be, this is a really important goal for my child that we are discussing. Who do we need to talk to get to additional information? How will it influence the decision we make here as a team? And exactly when can you get back to me on what it will take to get written into his IEP? And there's some other responses as well. But the whole point of the IEP is to make sure that all the people that can make the decisions for your child are there. So, you know, why isn't that person there to begin with? So, again, some great points. There was, going back, there's some really great, like I said, you've probably heard them before or heard of parents who have heard them. Sorry, we don't have the money. We're not convinced that your child needs that, and so forth. So, again, a great resource. All right. Question 10. Who is the co-creator of ndepnow.org, and what is that? Well, Hands and Voices is the co-creator and proud sponsor of that organization. The NDEP stands for National Deaf Education Project, and the goal of that project is to see the development of a communication and language-driven educational delivery system for children who are deaf and hard of hearing in the U.S. And we're going to go here to see what that looks like on the website. And then we're going to actually go to the site here. In case you didn't go that far, this is what their website looks like. And again, more great information. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.